Meeting to order. First item would be acceptance of the minutes from the September 11th meeting. Anybody have any comments, questions, changes, suggestions?
I move we accept.
I'll second that.
Second, all in favor?
Last time, Larry.
Hi, Steve.
Hey there.
You doing?
Good. Starting to get cold.
No, need a jacket. It was
Funny,
36 up at camp
Yeah, my son
this morning.
sends a note out that he can finally open these doors. Because he's in Fort Myers. And it said, I have to close mine, it's 34. It's not fair. Just wanted to thank you guys for putting up with me being gone last time. Thank you very much for continuing on. The third item on the agenda is pricing, scope, and budget. And I have given everybody a copy of where we stand right now for the budget. It's a pretty colorful page there. Drive my accountant crazy with my colors on my.
But it does help.
I think so.
It really
I
does.
really do. So at this point, with the items that we have known to date,
That's what I was missing. I didn't have that one in mind.
well, what was did I want to
It's all
give
right.
you help?
You can.
I think there's one right there, but look, I pinned it up like it's all in bondage. All right, there's one, I think right there. Okay,
Perfect.
all right,
Thank you.
no problem. What we've paid to date is $1,125,697.00. And it is noteworthy, I believe, to show that, well, we have 3 invoices that we'll be looking at this evening. All design, $1,225, $1,225. Next no date, $145,098.65. And then if you'll notice, the Dyer soda blasting came in at $4672.50. And they had given us an estimate of $5962.50.
Wow.
So that's a nice little surprise. Okay. So at this point, we have remaining in the budget. The total budget for phase 1 was $1,640,878.91. And we have remaining $515,181.83. Balance for phase 2, that's leaving out of the budget $59,121.09. We have donations that I've rounded to about 60. And so that's a budget for phase 2 of $119,121 thereabouts. So that's where we stand at the moment. Does everybody follow my
Yep.
colors there? Okay. All right, now a couple of things since I'm flapping my gums here. As far as the brown paint goes, I did talk with Jim today. And they would like to test out a new, or they're suggesting that they may use us as a test case
Ooh, that'd be nice.
for removing the brown paint, since it's a very small area. And it would involve using a vac. And I don't know if he's gonna use water with it or what, but it's obviously they have to do the dust control for the lead. But what he's trying to decide is if the vacuum cleaner or the system that they want to try out would suffice, or if he has to do, if maybe water would be easier, but then you have to collect the water, so. But he's thinking that he's gonna put together something and see if it might work for us to help control the cost, not have to bring up the equipment from Connecticut, which is because you have a minimal rental of 2 weeks for
That little.
Yes, exactly. So he's really trying to figure out a way to make it less impactful. And he did tell me that system, there's one of those systems for sale up here, but it's a fairly substantial chunk of change. So he's not so sure if he wants to make that crazy of an investment, but that may be an option too. But he is really trying. The other thing is the masons are gonna continue, like you and I were talking about, they're gonna go on the other gable end. And they are gonna start using the other brick, the water struck brick, so the infill that they're doing will all be the same brick. They won't risk running out of the older brick and then have to switch over. Because the water structs are a little bit smaller, actually, so the discerning eye will be able to tell that the mortar joints are a little bit bigger.
So that's you. Don't notice it.
Well, that could be, but I was like, it's way up there and maybe we'll put a roof on that patio at some point, so who's gonna know? You know, that's my thoughts, and I think that it makes more sense for uniformity.
Yeah, yeah, and it's the other side, it's not the
other
side where
side.
people are parking and the only
Exactly.
time. You know, if people were using that patio for an event, if somebody
Somebody's-
actually had to, you know, go
Yeah.
like that and
Yeah.
look up at it.
I'm sure there's a mason or two in the neighborhood
Exactly.
that would go,
Hey,
But,
what
you
did they
know.
do that for? But, you know,
but that's okay. I think for what we've accomplished on this elevation, I think is pretty impressive, so.
yeah,
Well, I was saying when I walked in, it just, people see now,
Yeah,
they can see
the
things
effort,
happening.
yeah,
So
exactly.
that's made a huge difference in comments,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
around town, at least that I've heard, which is nice.
Yeah,
Instead of that.
I
"So,
agree.
I'm timing.
Yeah.
It's true though.
What's it gonna be uniform?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's it for my blathering. So other things that we're looking at, you know, scope budget. Andrew, do you want to kind of give us an idea of scope where you guys are seeing us?
So what Steve Burton had given me when I can visit the site last week, I think it was.
Yeah, Thursday or Friday, yeah.
He seems to be pretty sure he'll be under what we got here, and that paperwork showed, I think, 116,000, which is great. He's also got some room to work with and allowances for things like in the initial budget that we owned, the initial GMP, we had like 12.9 for metal railings.
Right.
Because we had that ramp going up the front elevation, and that would all need a metal rail. We don't have that anymore because we're grading to that entry. We're probably gonna have a metal rail fabricated for the front. He imagines a savings of probably $9,000-ish there.
Can't beat that. That's wonderful.
With the copper coating that he was able to get quoted for 36, I believe.
Yeah.
I mean, he expected that dome to be 10 to 15,000. So he's pretty confident, and I showed Paul the invoice, the change order invoice, and he's also pretty confident in that.
Okay.
And we have to do a little bit of kind of rewind work just a little bit, because instead of doing the wood door on the front, when I talked to Steve, we both agreed that the steel door would be better, so we have to go back to that submittal and just review it and submit it for
Right,
the wood,
okay.
the steel door. And that'll save 5,000 off of that. The
Oh.
wood with 5,000 that wasn't warranted. So
Right.
it's an exterior door in a commercial building. Definitely steel with aluminum frame is better.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, so we'll just do a little bit of work on that, and I think we're fairly.
A little
confident
bit's
on that.
helping.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So, so I haven't updated the budget with that change order.
The
That change
116.
order. Yeah, I haven't updated that. What I'd like to do is wait so that I don't have to do it more than once. I would assume if we all agree on it, and we can, that's one of the ones we can review here. Bring everybody up to date, is then, once it's agreed to and we sign it and send it along. They'll incorporate that into their requisition on their continuation sheet, that sheet that tells us all the stuff that they're up to and percentages, and I'll just follow that.
Yeah.
So rather than.
The
trying to
big
guess.
number on that change order was the electrical. There was a $35,000, and that's an ad. Because what he had priced in the change order was basically just conduit and hanging boxes.
Mhm.
But the electrical contractor said, you know, if you want, I think it was 10 junctions or 10 boxes and ceiling lights and stuff, like temp lights, not the pigtails. It would be that 35. So depending on what you come back with like the metal rail saving, the dome saving and stuff like that, then that could be pushed towards.
We could put it towards that.
Yeah.
Towards that ad.
And that will likely help in the future because the guy that's here doing all the roughing for electrical will be able to do that while he's here anyways.
Right.
So you don't have to
Oh.
bring somebody back on board. So
Yeah.
that's an important one, but it's a choice to make.
Right, okay. Okay. All right, so do we want to go over that? I think I did give everybody a copy of that. I hope I did, if I didn't. I had everything all printed out, the Lark. Yeah, the Lark one, I had like, I don't know how many copies made when I first got it and said send along, but you know what? I don't believe I do. I think that's over at the house.
This one?
114, no, that's the Lark.
That's
yeah.
where, yeah, sorry, here's one.
Yeah.
I brought my own. So if
Okay.
people wanna look at that one.
I'm sorry about that. I had them all separated out. Oh, no. I'm sorry. I do have, I don't send here.
This is the one.
Yeah,
that
the
we got the other
changes.
day.
So the looking at changes that I've given you. You have the change order? You
I
have
think
that?
so.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
I looked around, I've got it somewhere.
All right. So what he's talking about here, this is proposal for pastry work for attach. And the total amount of the change is 114,825. And he has a breakdown on subsequent pages. Now, with you speaking with Steve, do you want to tell us what we're looking at here?
Oh,
I don't
sure.
know if I can
You
really.
need to look at.
We can share, how's that?
Okay.
So all of this stuff, the allowances on the dome stuff, I think is already built in. We've included allowances, but we've already talked about that a couple of times and they've already set that in motion. On the next page, though, you'll see down at the bottom, there's the change proposal for this work and it breaks down to 114. So that first one, the $5,000, is that wooden door.
Yeah.
That Steve and I agreed it's just best to go back to the steel, the hollow frame.
Right, so that was what he's saying is we had an alternate for wooden door and we're not going to be using. the
Correct,
alternate.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, so that
So that can
5,000
be
can
done.
go away.
Yeah.
This 35,000 for the rough wiring and the drop boxes and stuff in the ceiling, which is broken down on. It was broken down somewhere.
the only place that I can see what they were doing is on the continuation sheet. And I wanted to have some help with this because I didn't quite follow what they were getting.
Yeah. Isn't missing a page, is it?
No, I printed out what he.
Yeah, these were the 3 pages that we got
Yeah,
Thursday,
So
so.
just said it verbally and I imagined the words. It's basically getting junction boxes and things inside, more than rough in, it would be somewhat, electrical ready for interior work, temporary lighting, stuff like that. Is built into that 35,000.
and that's an ad.
That is an ad, yes.
Mhm.
The ad alternate for insulation at ceiling floors and exterior walls, so I believe what they say up here in the carpentry piece, which is to do the perimeter walls in the hall
Okay.
and do all the 2x4 walls in the back as well.
Oh, and really? Okay.
Yeah. Yep, interior 2x4 walls, frame and build steps as discussed on site, sonotubes in the front, so just foundation on the front steps. So I believe all of the framing,
Mhm.
interior framing will be done, but that does not include chip up, mud, finish,
Yeah.
ready for paint,
Right.
which I believe would be somewhat included in this insulation piece if they were to insulate all of the walls.
Right, because they're saying 49 at and up in the ceiling,
First floor ceiling, rear addition 30,
the rear addition are 30,
exterior.
so that's
walls.
this back area.
Now, what about the back wall? Would that be insulated too? Between the two
Between the
buildings?
two, we did discuss that when we were talking about, where money would be best spent, and if we thermally isolate that hall space from the back, then we wouldn't have to insulate the back, and the hall could still be at temperature, 65 degrees or whatever.
And it's gonna be zoned as far as heating, so you could heat one part hotter than the other part, or?
Well, I believe what this is, the 16,000 is that the whole building perimeter would be insulated, so we wouldn't be insulating between the two.
Okay.
So at one point, we discussed insulating between the two spaces so that we didn't have to heat the back and we could keep this at 65,
Right.
base usable space. And the back wouldn't have to be thermally controlled yet until we had money for
Right.
additional stuff.
Right, but if we can do it all at once.
Steve, I believe that this includes, when he says, all perimeter walls. Exterior walls receive R21. Basement insulation, so this includes the whole perimeter.
Okay,
And then there, R30 in the basement ceiling
Yes,
and R30 in the crawl space. Okay. All right, so and that's an additional, this is an additional 16,000 over what we, or is that the original ad? See, that's what's confusing me. We had insulation.
what do they have in there? Requisition.
Yeah, I'm looking at that now. We have contingency, demo conditions. Demolition demo, concrete masonry, miscellaneous metal, rough carpentry, finished carpentry, millwork roofing. Miscellaneous splashing, caulking doors and frames. Refurbished door and entry, windows, paint exterior. See, I don't see, it must be an ad. I don't see insulation.
Yeah, so that 16 must be the insulation,
The package for insulation.
because I don't see it in this
Right,
breakdown sheet.
yeah, neither. Okay.
what kind of insulation did they decide to go with?
I believe it's gonna be rock.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good stuff.
It is,
Yes.
yeah.
oh, yeah.
If
That's what
we,
they're doing in Bowdoin College.
All those old buildings there.
Mice don't like it.
No, they don't.
All that stuff too.
if we have to, if it comes down to choosing between some of these, I think insulation would take the most priority.
Oh,
For sure.
absolutely,
Yeah.
Mhm.
absolutely. I think that would be wise for
Yeah.
sure. So in order to move forward with this, do we feel that we have enough information to vote on accepting this change order, change proposal number 2?
I think so.
Everything and every dealing I had with Steve Burton, I would trust him to.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, he
Yeah.
just is a good guy and, has our best interests at heart,
Yeah, I
for
think-
sure.
I
He's
think they all
scraped
do,
and,
yeah.
and like Andrew and Steve and I were talking afterwards, we just picked the right people to work with, Been awesome.
And they picked the right, I think, because Nick Snowday at large
Yeah.
is a good company.
Yeah,
But that it took a little while to get the folks there initially.
Right, yeah,
Because it was tough
oh,
at
yeah.
the time, but I
Yeah.
think,
Yeah.
I think we ended up with the right people
oh, yeah.
for what we want to do here.
Yeah.
So, all right, do we have a motion to, how do you say that?
Except.
Thank you. I need to get some sleep. I was told by a friend of mine, did you follow the baby rule when the baby sleeps? You said.
Yeah.
It's true. I have to do that because I'm a bit numb, so.
I move that we accept the change proposal number 2. In the amount of $114,825.
Have a
I
second.
will second that.
Okay, all in favor? And I do have a text from Steve Brown. He wanted to make sure that his, affirmation that we should go with this is noted. Okay, so. Yeah. All right.
Really wanted to win that super mega bucks because I wanted to walk in.
chance.
I know, I just wanted to walk in and say, we're covered.
Go for it.
Finish her up, baby.
Yeah.
Finish her up.
Yeah, whatever you want.
Okay, now, do we have any information? I know, Steve was talking about sewer. Do you have Any information on what they're, no, I think he was talking to Steve, is it?
Yeah.
Okay,
I know they've located it, it's gonna put
Yeah.
that whole.
yeah, and that's it.
That's always a
Okay.
good thing.
Yeah, well, it's nice to know where that is.
Yeah.
And we're thinking maybe Jimmy's gonna help us. dig
Yeah, I
things up.
think that Jimmy is gonna help with that and also the water, getting the water
Right,
line over too.
Okay,
And the funny thing is, Jimmy Hopkins has Johnny Pileski working for him now, who used to work for.
the connections.
The
run deep.
connection, yeah, for, Winthrop Water and Sewer, Winthrop Sanitary District that, oversees the sewer and the water. So Johnny, he's got an in there. Johnny will be able to, I think that's what made a big difference, that Johnny called the right person and said, turn the water on, because they were looking for the water main. And where it was, capped on, and said, turn it on. And they came and turned it on. They
Yeah.
said, come over here and turn it on. And where the water started coming up out of the ground,
Is-
they, because where they thought it was, they were digging and couldn't find it. And it, they went too deep, and Jimmy's like, we should have, because Jimmy does all the digging for Winthrop Water.
Mhm.
And, so, they called the right person, turned the water on, the water came out of the ground, like, oh, there it is, and dug down, and there it was. And now it's marked out there where the water is, so,
Good.
I think we've just worked with the right people again
No, that's so helpful.
to get that stuff done, so.
Okay, so then we have topics for further well, no, I want to know about the bell tower. We're all set with the bell tower with what we're doing with that, and that's the copper, yeah. And CMP, did we hear anything from Justin?
No, because they were at the MMA meeting Wednesday and Thursday, and of course, Friday. Whatever, and
Yeah.
today is a holiday, so tomorrow I'm seeing Justin on a
Oh, that's
number
right,
of things.
yeah.
And I'm going to say, you need to call CMP to get the number that they've given us for an account was for 3-phase, so now we need to get an account for 2-phase.
For 2-phase, right.
So
Okay,
that's where we are with that. So I'll see Justin tomorrow, and that's on my list of items to go over, so.
Alrighty. I have a question, more for the budget. When all is said and done, and we have what's left that needs to be done to get the certificate of occupancy, would you guys be able to, kind of work with, getting some numbers for us to say what we have to shoot for? For getting to, from where we think we can get with our 114,000 and whatnot, from there. Just as a minimum, just to get to the certificate of occupancy, will it be the finished product that we all hope it to be? Maybe not, but so that it can be usable,
Yeah,
and what that cost would be.
and we have, I think, already done those drawings. And sent them as like a phase 1.5 back when we
Right, okay.
thought that might be the direction that we could get all of our, our plumbing in and our emergency lighting and all of that stuff.
Right.
So we have a lot of that information already. I think if you wanted to estimate it, Steve could help you with that.
Yeah, okay,
and tell you
if
how
we have
far.
those, yep.
Yeah,
Okay,
but if obviously any additional information, we're happy to help
Yeah.
and.
no, that's okay, I can send a note out to Steve with that. I think it would be important to have kind of a ballpark figure, so again, when people are talking, we're gonna get us this far, this is what we're trying to hack away at.
And this is the difference we need to cover to get.
To get it usable.
there.
Right,
Yeah.
to get in there, and again, there'll be other stuff to do, obviously, but
Yes.
if we can just get it to usability,
Yeah,
Yeah.
the big cost there will be the plumbing,
absolutely.
the fixtures and
Yeah.
all of that it
Yeah.
will be.
And I wanted to send, after this meeting, I was gonna send just an email to Carl Caprera, the kitchen equipment guy, saying, we're not there yet, but I wanted to just touch base with you and tell you where we are and what we need to do before we get to putting the kitchen equipment in, so he doesn't forget about us. not
Right, no,
that he would,
right,
but-
Okay,
So,
all right, Anything else anybody has for topics? About the project itself? The handrails, did we decide on the coating? Are we painting? Are we the single, I think we're only gonna have one handrail
on the porch area
Not the,
or on the
No.
stairs?
on the stairs or whatever.
or the ramp going
the
into
ramp.
this entrance
And the
here,
ramp
not
going
the
in.
front entrance.
Yeah, because we had been talking, this has been lurking around on this agenda for a while. We want maintenance costs of repainting or do powder coating, I think was another one that they were looking at, or we were looking at. Just like to keep, to bring it up, to say,
Yeah, powder coating will be a bigger upfront cost,
Yeah.
but the maintenance period on it is like triple
Right.
of paint, so.
Yeah.
That's always something to consider. I know that we have the two handrails on the front entrance, the gable end.
yeah.
And then on the entrance here, we won't have anything because we'll be graded up.
As
to
are
the
graded, okay, so
lab.
it's just on the back, okay.
Yep, yep.
But that'll be a pretty substantial piece of work out there with the stairs
Well,
and landing.
yes, I wouldn't, and maybe not substantial unless, I know Steve Brown had said that people were talking about maybe we do a ramp from that landing to
Oh,
over-
forward, right,
over the wall so that it, if people need to wheel something in for events, they can come in through a back door.
well, that makes more sense than
Yeah.
trying to go down to the pad.
Yeah.
Right.
So if it was, a ramp up to a landing, but then stairs down to the patio, then that's obviously quite a long run of metal rail. But we would recommend fabricating most, if not all of that stair is metal anyways. And then, powder coat, you'll see the number for powder coat and it'll be huge and you'll be like, wow, that's a lot less painted, but you won't have to repaint it for 30 years. or
Right, it
something,
won't have to be
so
touched in.
50 or,
Right,
whatever.
although when it chips, it's a little hard to repair, so.
Yeah, you could just do, galvanized, just
Mhm.
clear coat galvanized,
Right.
which is kind of a little bit of an older look anyways.
Yeah, that would kind of go with the history of the building. Just the old fire escape stair look. Which would work.
So that's always something, and when we draw up those stairs, we should say like, specify a galvanized clear coat. And Steve will send it to whoever he has. We've worked with Cumberland Ironworks on some custom stairs on other projects, and they're pretty affordable, and they do their own shop drawings. And, they do some pretty good work.
Okay.
So,
Good.
that's who I'd recommend, because we've worked with them, but I'm sure Steve has other connections.
Could that be the most economical way to go with the clear galvanized?
Yeah, yeah, I believe so.
Okay. All right, then, item 4 is review and approve monthly invoices. So at this point, what we have,
I just wanted to mention the front railing where for those people that weren't at the meeting the other day,
right,
the nice thing is it's not so high that we need to have a different railing. We can use or the same design and just go with wood, and it doesn't have to be brought up or have something in behind that original design. So we'll be able to keep the same look, and they're going to just use pressure treated to make that
the existing
the
design.
existing design and railing around the columns. So that's a nice thing. We aren't gonna have to have some other
Right.
railing system behind it to make it higher for
Right.
code, because
Because it's,
we're not so far off the ground that we
Yeah.
need something different.
yeah, I think the
So-
discussion, the other day was, don't dig.
Don't. We want it to stay at that.
If you have
grade,
some dirt
that
to
level.
pile up, put it over here.
Yeah, as long as that drop off doesn't exceed 30 inches.
Yeah, yeah.
No, that's
So
good,
that's
and
the nice
and I
thing,
think
and-
that's important for the front of the building.
Yeah.
It retains its original,
Exactly.
whenever it was.
Yeah.
Added.
Yeah, that was like 42 or
Yeah.
44 or whatever.
But
when-
anybody that's still here,
Yeah,
That's what we
because that was
remember.
what Harry designed for it, so.
okay, good, yeah, good catch.
We're also gonna bringing that up, so the lettering, we're gonna look.
Oh, yes, the
replacing
lettering
the
around,
the rose
Yep.
window.
Oh, yeah, okay.
yeah.
We'll propose a couple options. I think it's just gonna be a pretty small cost. It's either millwork or it's cut out of a piece of plywood, like a water jet or something, and then painted. I mean,
Very simple.
Yeah,
but-
I don't
but
think it'll be-
apropos for the
yeah,
application.
we'll send Steve a good detail on that.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
And then because if you notice, those letters are off of there now because they're working on repainting around that.
Mhm.
And they're all saved inside the building. A couple came off in one piece, but a lot of them broke. So, I mean, if, obviously, that's something that when we go to put things inside, when the finish sheetrock and paint is done, you know, we can figure out a way to take those original letters and put them either in a circle or a straight line or do something in maybe the archive room or something with them. And,
Yeah, wasn't there one letter missing or something?
well, I think there might be one letter and then
I stole
Andrew stole one too to match him up. They went up and grabbed one.
Oh, did they?
That meeting before
Oh, the
last,
meeting
when we
before one?
did,
Yeah.
yeah, when you
Yeah.
couldn't
Yeah,
come.
yeah.
When we did the on-site
Right,
meeting, you know,
okay.
they went up in the bucket and got Andrew a letter
There you go.
to match
Here,
up.
have a
the
letter.
Give it back, don't worry.
Sign
Yeah.
and everything, so.
First.
Yeah,
Okay,
the
cool.
missing A, Andrew has it. I think that's what it was. It
No,
was
you
a
said
B.
you took a
What was
B.
it?
Took a
B.
B.
Oh,
I
a
should've taken
B.
an A.
Okay.
Yeah, hello.
I couldn't remember. It was the beginning of the alphabet. I did
That's
well to
funny.
remember that, so.
Okay, cool. Alrighty, so the Nickerson O'Day requisition, for this month, well, their requisition for August 31, they're requisitioning $145,098.85.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, let's see. Basically, for that time frame. Oh, it's a goodness, I'm challenged today with my ability to operate my fingers. And under this period, it's, you know, their fee, their portion of change order 1 and that's on page.
In here.
Yeah, under the period.
Okay.
Column.
Yeah.
Column E. And then general condition 17,000. Did some demolition. 7,400, masonry 35,000. Rock carpentry 17 and change, millwork 15 and change. Roofing, doesn't the roof look nice?
Good job.
It
Really
really
does.
does smile. It just makes you smile.
Yeah.
11,000. And then continuing on, windows, 48,000. So that sums to 145. At this point, I was going through on column G, looking at the percentages. And, you know, there's lots of zeros here. Those are the contingencies that he's talking about. You know, you get contingency, change order 1. I mean, there's, you know, 30,000 right there that hasn't been touched yet.
Mhm.
Allowances for CMP, site work, those things are still, you know, in the wind. But concrete change order, nothing's been touched, miscellaneous metals, nothing, so we still have, you know, quite a number of items that we still have to do. Electrical, we've got 50% of that, 50 or 60% of that is still. So, you know, that's what he's been watching is what's left in each of literally how close we are to completing that, those little scopes where he can get his savings. One of them that's a wee bit over, it's like 329%. Rotted wood. But it's still, I mean, that's a horrible percentage, but it's only $3,400
Yeah.
more than anticipated. So,
The electrical, just for a
Mhm.
moment, I'm gonna clarify with Steve what that remaining 22,000 will contain, so that we know the difference between that and that 35,000
Perfect, okay, what you got,
Yeah,
that 22,000 is right
Yeah.
there, yeah. So, yeah, that'll be helpful. So do we have a motion to accept the approve this billing for payment?
I move that we approve this billing, Nickerson and O'Day for payment.
I'll second
And then a second, all in favor? Would you do me a favor and just sign that when you pick it back at me?
Anywhere?
Right on the front's fine. On the front. Thank you, sir. And then Paul Design. Principal architect, $375, architectural designer, $850. For a total due of $1,225.
I move we accept and pay Paul Designs. $1,225.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Last invoice that we have is Dyer's soda blasting. And basically what they did was they removed all of the green paint from the exterior of the building, and for the record, the tan paint that's left, it has to be treated differently because it was found to be lead, so that's why it's still there.
And that's what you said they were gonna try
They're
to
gonna
use us as a test.
as a way to determine if there's a way that will meet the standards. But without, you know, the exorbitant expense of renting equipment for
From
this
Connecticut.
little tiny,
Mhm.
right, this little tiny area for 2 weeks. For
What did
2
you say
hours.
their original quote had come in at?
It was $5,962.50.
Mhm.
And they
Wow.
billed us $4,672.50.
Okay,
Savings.
Right.
So. Do we have a motion to accept and
I'll move that we pay Dyer Soda Blasting the $46.7250.
second? Thank you, Larry.
Good job, Larry.
We're a tag team here.
You are rocking it, guys. All in favor? I mumbled today, I mumbled. All right. Okay. And item number 5 is select board updates, answers, recommendations. Anything new and nifty?
Anything new and exciting at all? Oh, the thing we didn't talk about yet was Lark.
Yes, well,
Oh, did you add it in somewhere else?
well, I was actually gonna bring it up here, and then I was thinking, since we missed it, we could bring it when we're
Yeah.
talking about fundraising.
Okay, so, nothing from the select board. It's been, we've been dealing with transfer station and other interesting issues, so. I'm flying under the radar.
Gotcha.
But do you think that a lot of it is because people are not complaining
Yeah.
and being vocal because they're seeing actually
Yeah,
things
Exactly,
happening?
I was down at Apple Fest for the whole day with our table, and I had the newest plans laminated and talked to several people. And, the people that had been vocal in the initial reuse committee. Some of the people that had other ideas of how the building could be in keeping the whole building and reusing the whole building and all of that. I talked to them and they're like, so you mean we could actually have classes there for adult education, and we're gonna be able, I'm like, yes, and we're gonna make sure that the audio visual is there so that people will be able to project things and use their computer to do presentations, and we're gonna have it open for meetings and to rent for meetings or conventions or whatever we see fit, and we're gonna have a kitchen, so you could have an event there with food and all of that. And once they saw the plans and they were like, oh, wow, we're gonna be able to use this. I'm like, yes. And
I'm
we're
not
gonna
sure what
vote
they
there.
thought. Initially, it's like, do you think we're just going to do this and just
put
have
a
you walk
wall
by?
around it
Right, and say, oh, look, it's like,
"Isn't it pretty now?"
going to a funeral, I'm viewing the coffin. No, it's
No,
for use.
and we want people to live in it and use it and,
Right.
be happy and use it and remember the fun things that we used to do there and the fun things we can do
right,
now.
right.
So I think, you know, in the folks that I talked to and showed the floor plan and what was gonna be in there, they all of a sudden went, oh, wow,
Mm.
yeah, great, that's wonderful.
And
So,
it's not a huge space. It's not like if they kept the whole thing,
oh, God,
how would you have ever utilized
utilized all of that.
for this size town?
No,
You know,
right.
Winthrop's got its stuff. It's not, this isn't like Augusta.
Right.
No,
Right.
I mean, that space was huge and to try to maintain all of that or fill it
The
and.
cost of.
Well, we'd
upkeep-
still be doing just the foundation on one of the,
God, yeah.
you know,
It would have been tens of millions of
Yeah.
dollars. I mean, it
At a
would have
minimum, yeah.
hundreds of millions of dollars anyway, if we were gonna try to rehab all of
Yeah.
that, so.
And I think the progress that we've made on this, once we got the wheels turning and whatnot. And looking at it as, I know people were frustrated last year, we had
Yeah.
left open and things like that, but. That saved us money by not trying to do temporary heat, temporary lighting, all of that stuff to fight our way through the winter.
Yeah,
It's not cheap
Yeah.
doing that work in the winter time, so. You know, now that they're seeing this, I
Yeah.
think it's made a
But
huge difference.
Huge. and then I was
Really
talking
has.
with, an interior designer, and the only question they could ask was, well, what color are you painting the inside? I'm like, I don't know, we haven't gotten that far yet. I'm sure
We're excited about walls going in.
Yes, oh, there's no hole anymore, and then we have windows in the roof, and it's not gonna leak, and we were able to save the ceiling, you
Right,
know?
right.
And those are the things that I don't know what color it's.
I'll
gonna
bring
be
it up at the next
very,
meeting.
You know, very basic. We haven't picked, you know, a color scheme, and it's gonna, you know, not be crazy. It's gonna
Right.
be, you know, whatever, just.
Right.
Wow.
Mustang maroon.
And then Audrey told me that that's not even what it was. It was what, garnet? I think garnet was the original thing that was when they voted on it for the school, it was called garnet, and then it became maroon.
Oh, yeah. 'cause
So,
garnet
Well, you
kind
could-
of a-
kind of red.
It had, it had a little more red in it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
so, but,
Well, it's
you know.
not full blown purple. so.
exactly. It's not purple, thank goodness.
That's Deering.
That, or
Oh.
Waterville too.
Waterville, yeah.
Oh, Waterville, that's true.
Deering and Waterville.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
Okay.
so, you know, I think people are seeing it, and when I talk to them and tell them what's going on and what we've got and where we're going, I think they're finally visualizing it, so.
yeah, and when we had the meeting with the select board and, Dan Roy was asking,
Yeah.
can you have training?
Yeah.
That's the whole idea is it's a large, and it's not so big. That, you're bumbling
It's not
around
the
in there.
Civic Center.
It's not the
you know,
civic center, but it's a good size for training opportunities, safety meetings, all of that.
Yeah.
I think that was it's a good move right there.
Do you hear positive comments, Doug, around town?
Oh, I've heard.
What about you, Steve? Do you hear?
Oh, yeah, well, normal when people start seeing how their money's being spent
Yeah.
and they see progress. It's like paving roads, oh, wow, you're paving my road.
Right, right.
Okay, it's all right to spend that money.
Yeah.
Right,
So
Yeah,
people want to see results.
well,
And they want to see where their money's going.
right.
That's right.
And I think we've worked hard to control the expenditures. I don't think we've been frivolous in anything.
Right, it's not like we have had them put, gold on
Yeah.
the, or anything, so.
It's gonna be a nicely redone, usable,
Mhm.
manageable space.
Yeah.
Okay, so fundraising.
I have submitted a grant for the Marguerite Burnham Foundation. It's a shot in the dark. Not sure we'll get any money from it, but I asked for 25,000. It's a little bit more than what it seems like they give historic start high.
What foundation is that?
It's a Marguerite Burnham Foundation.
And where is that from? Where are they?
Well, yeah, exactly. I found that in the list. Doug gave me a list of people that had given grants to,
It goes to Faces.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Kennebec Land Trust.
Oh,
And it
okay.
was, yeah,
Payson, who is an investment
Yes.
firm, is the one who takes the applications in.
yeah.
Mhm.
It's the Marguerite Burnham Charitable Trust.
Yeah.
How that goes. I've been working with the USDA, which is Rural Development.
Mhm.
They have grant money and loans. They do a kind of combination of both. They have quite a bit of money. So we're trying to meet with the representative Jesse Archer, which Archer sounds awfully familiar to me.
We had a teacher, Mr. Archer, for
Okay.
years.
When Darlene was teaching Mr. Archer, that Mr. Archer.
We had that, there was also,
Jim- there's
Jim.
an electrician around is called Archer. He did some work for us a while back, but anyway, I have to meet with her to go through the whole application process. I spent a good part of it, full day, just signing up to be able to access
Really?
their portal. They're
Really?
very, very
Wow.
thorough, and you have umpteen different ways to get in and back up and all this kind of stuff. So I'm trying to meet with, send her an email again today. We've been playing back and forth. She's in Augusta, so once I get that application going, I'll have a lot more questions on time frame and how much I should ask for. And for you selectmen to consider if you want to borrow money at a low interest rate. I'm more interested in the grant money and how much I can get out of them.
Yeah, I mean, it's good information to have, obviously, but I think right now we're sliding on some pretty nice nice trajectory
Yeah,
using really focusing on using the money that we have
yeah.
and acquiring more. I'm sure that if we get to the point where it is usable somehow that, it's not finished but usable and they can start seeing the application of it, might not be so difficult to get
Another,
Yeah,
another tap to the well.
yeah,
yeah, because
You know.
I totaled up what you had given me for numbers and you're just looking at just over $500,000 that you need to finish the project.
Yeah,
And that's the kind of the number I've been using
yeah.
in applications. So if we can get halfway there, or,
Right.
not this, $500,000 is an awful lot of money in terms of projects like this and
No.
getting grants. So if you go to the right pool and, I met with John Simcoe at the MMA. Oh,
did
yes.
you?
He's with the Andrew Scoggin Bank.
Yes.
Also the Energizer Bunny. I said, yes, she is. They have a different pot of money than they
Yeah.
normally give out. Did he give you any
Well,
money?
no, because
Okay.
he never answered that email where I gave him $5,000 and $10,000 choices, because he said that they will give like 5,000 and 10,000, and then they have this other pool over here
Yeah.
that is like for youth and recreation
Yeah.
that Lena Hahn is involved in. And I never heard from him about the $5,000 and $10,000 projects. And
Like,
then,
The whole youth thing is
Yes.
a big pot of money.
yes,
If it's gonna, and that's why this landscape and all this stuff that we're
Yes.
looking at
Yeah.
is
in the
crucial.
playground.
And the
and-
playgrounds and elderly stuff
Yeah.
and a little bit of everything,
Exactly.
recreation for us older folks.
Yeah.
So there's that, plus the IF&W, which is the
Yes.
land, that's Doug Beck
Doug
funding
Beck,
project.
yeah.
So, and I'm working on that.
The one question I wanted to ask you is because we're in the process of trying to redo the comp plan. Is that going to affect anything not having a current comp plan that
Not
you're
for that.
involved in?
No, the only ones that might affect the one that at the state level and it will definitely affect if we look for CDBG funding. But if you're in the process, you have. one,
We
you just
have one,
update
we're
it.
just updating.
So you should be
it.
fine.
Okay, because they were saying that if we don't have a updated.
Who said that? John? Steve?
Steve O'Donnell had said that if we didn't have an updated new comp plan, it could affect, federal level grants.
How
So
old is the comp plan?
what is it?
Usually it's every 10 years, so
Yeah,
it's
it's more than 10 years.
it
Yeah.
is.
Because they had started redoing it and then COVID hit and everything kind of fell apart. So
Yeah.
we're getting back on track to
update it.
Yeah, it may have an impact, but you have one, you're updating it. I think we can work around that.
Work around it, okay, that's what I was kind of worried about, that.
Especially with COVID, like, yeah, I mean, everyone's aware that things got,
Yeah.
Oh, the wheel.
Yeah.
So, any word from the the landscape people?
Yes, so the landscape people
That's
that
Mark, yeah.
this information, which I'll pass to
Yeah.
you, because this is Andrew's work for them on, or they sent it through,
Yeah, it's Eve, I believe I gave
You have the
one.
Lark one?
yeah,
Yeah.
the Lark one, I think might have been at the end of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I printed it off.
Yeah,
Then we've got another one.
yeah, that one right here.
Very good. LWC.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's good. That's the one I really would like to get into.
yeah.
So tell us
So
about this.
you want to go over,
Yeah,
get another copy?
I don't.
Did I
Here
not
it is. Here's another copy.
Yeah,
There's not one.
I've read it before.
Coming your way.
A week ago.
Yeah.
So I spoke with Mike Rogers, principal at Lark, as you can see here.
Mhm.
I believe he did 2,500 for,
Mhm.
well, this will
Yeah.
get you, his goal is basically to get you what you need to submit for that.
Right.
Yeah,
Grant.
very
Um,
reasonable.
Yeah.
And he works very well, works very fast and good. I mean, we trust him. We partner with him on pretty much every project
Mhm.
that we need a landscape architect. But he'll work through us. So anything that he thinks might meet his limits, we can also kind of sort of complete in as far as like drafting goes or something, and it'll help keep things more manageable
Okay.
between the two of us. He said that the application is pretty bare bones for what you need as far as a design and what you're showing graphically. Like one maybe pretty picture and then one plan that details what's existing, what's being replaced and what's new. And then I think there's one other thing, which should be utilities, I think have to be shown. It's like a 4-color plan, so it's like green,
Okay.
red, blue, and something else.
Okay.
So it's a pretty bare bones plan. And it's just a jumping off point. So obviously, if the grant goes through, then he would love to come back and do something, more.
Work with the project,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
yeah.
Very good.
So essentially, we have to say we want to go ahead with the $2,500 to let him make that plan for Steve to go ahead. I think that definitely, if we don't spend it, we don't have anything. If we spend $2,500, we'll have a plan to move forward with looking at some big grants.
Exactly, and sharing that with the community as to what vision we have for this, not to
Yeah.
just be the building.
It's other things too.
And even if the grant doesn't go through, you have something
Plan.
10 years down the road, like, hey,
Yeah,
look at this.
Right.
This is a really good opportunity and a good application. I saw what Winthrop put through for the North Cross Point, and I think we can do better than that.
Yeah.
So, and we have a better project. They didn't complete half of what they should have been talking about.
Really.
Then they came back and asked for more. They asked originally for I think it was 350,000 and they would match it. And so they'd end up with just over almost 800,000, and they went back a month later and the process wasn't completed for the approval and everything. And they asked for 3 million. And that just, like, where did this come from? And they lost that round. Doug Beck told me, they told them to go back to the drawing board and put together a better application.
Wow,
So they have a lot of people asking for money in that pool. And then
wow.
I've had good luck with them, but not that kind of money. Small projects, 50,000 here or so, but and Doug's a great resource. And he might lean a little bit towards Mama since he lives.
Yeah.
He did live here.
yeah, he lived out in
North Monmouth.
Oh, really? Or North Monmouth?
Well, their house is.
His house
one that
burned
is
down.
burned, what, in June or July or something like
right.
that, that started in the garage and spread into the house. Yeah, so. Yeah,
They're building in Edgecombe
yeah.
now. They have people
Oh, really?
property there. Anyway, but that would be really awesome.
Do we have a motion to move forward with the $2,500? So we can have a plan? What do you think?
Yes, oh, yes, I'll make a motion to ask for that project to $2,500 pay for.
Creating the plan, and give it a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Larry. And all in favor?
That's a very good price.
Yeah, I was surprised.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I expected it to be closer to $5. How many trips do they have to make down here? I see it's 60 cents per mile from Bangor, or being from Booth Bay, or Bar Harbor.
For this, we already had a survey with the, Eric Doobie and his team were on for civil, so I sent them the GWGs already. If he were to come down, I would imagine it would be after the fact where he would actually look at our technical landscaping instead of, not.
Yeah, and they came and walked pretty much the whole thing with us, so that was a nice,
Hey, that's a really good idea.
yeah.
And on the
great.
back here, just to clarify, I'll talk to Mike about this, it says things about invoices sent, I think that, they'll work through us as
Yeah.
far as I'm aware, so
Okay.
we would bill at 2,500 and then we'll pay.
And,
Mark.
okay,
So
all right.
you see an extra jump from us. that
Yeah,
would be
yeah,
fine.
no, that's hard.
So do you
Just send
need
that
to
along.
sign this or do we, whose signatures are supposed to be in,
This will be your signatures or
For Justin?
whoever the representative or legal representative of.
That would be the
as a whole.
town.
okay, so if I get him to sign this, I can scan it.
You can fax it to us. or
Okay,
scan
I'll
to
scan it,
us,
send
yeah.
it over to you, so I'll have Justin sign this one.
Add it to your
tomorrow.
pile.
Well, my list of things to do tomorrow with Justin, so.
And he needs to sign the change order,
Oh,
proposal
okay.
as well, so I can give you this copy.
I wrote on mine, so
Yeah,
I'll
this
take
copy
it.
is not, this is not written on.
Okay.
So. What page?
All right. Okay. Perfect.
Okay.
Or would I just need to have him sign the change order? Do I need to have him show anything else?
Oh, you have.
Because
yeah,
I have
no,
that,
Yeah, you have that, that's fine,
I'll
yeah,
just take that.
Yeah. yeah.
And
that's fine.
then do I scan this to you?
Yeah, well, that can go right to Steve, you can CC,
Okay,
just
Okay.
CC us,
okay,
okay,
Okay.
so once he signs it,
to Steve Burton.
yeah, Steve, yeah.
Did you just write on the copy that you said you? had
No,
written
I'm
on?
gonna, I changed my mind. I changed my
I was
mind.
thinking like,
I'll
I
just
think she
keep this.
said
one.
I didn't
know.
write on mine.
I'll just keep this one. I did write on this back here, and I want to keep that in mind. Stuff, so. All right, but we'll have Justin sign those too. Perfect.
All righty. Okay, time and agenda, well, thank you for fundraising update.
Oh, I did make,
Oh, do you want $600? Not $600, this is the two fun things.
Bates Mill, Bianca reached out to me and said that Down East Magazine wants to highlight the Bates Mill, the Bates Throw from Monmouth Academy in their Christmas giving edition.
Wow.
And I said, that's exciting. We have a website, so if you want to include that in whatever they're gonna put together, she said more details to come. But I do have a check for the throws we sold over the summer, so because it's on their website. I did a $600 check to send to the town, and I raised $425
Cool.
at Applefest. I sold 5 throws and then took like $75 in donations.
That's fabulous.
I always round up.
Yeah.
I always get some weird amount and then I just round up to the
Yeah,
next. But
And
I throw my money.
10.
And then I've got 3 right there for Steve, because there's another 210. So
Wonderful.
essentially it was like
$1,200 in a short amount of time. so
Nice.
Good.
Little bit at a time.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
so-
Yeah.
Done.
Every little bit counts and that's.
So that
amazing.
was good, and I'm going to email the school principal, the new principal, and ask permission to go to basketball games with throws. So I can try to get some parents.
Right, the
And-
only thing that I see with that is if he or our athletic director feel that you would infringe on the boosters, because they're selling their stuff that you can get. But I mean, they're totally different. I mean,
It's
theirs is
different
all
things.
wearable stuff, so.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I would start with the principal and then
Yeah.
he'll probably refer you to the AD.
Yeah,
Eric graduated in 97.
yeah, see, and I'm sure I probably recognize him or know him from,
He's a little pill.
is
He was.
he was,
When he
but
was
Who's the principal?
his,
Eric Gregg,
Yeah.
yeah,
his
graduated in 97.
parents are Lori
Lori and
Cottrell
Yeah.
and Bernard Bray.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's changed a lot.
Just remind the principal that Monmouth Academy trustees gave a lot of money to,
well, I'll remind Steve Bell of that, and I'll also remind him that he had to apologize to a referee I know very well that I live with, so. Tell me that story off when we're not.
Yeah.
recording, so, anyway.
Well, that's really awesome news.
So
Thank you.
that was exciting about,
It's very
Um,
exciting.
because Down East, that Down East Christmas thing, people, I always look at it and see neat
Yeah.
ideas for gifts, but it goes all over the world, so.
and maybe they could do an article on this. I mean,
Exactly.
this is the kind of a thing that,
I'm
That
hoping
kind of
that.
fits
Yeah.
their
Fits
shtick.
their
and you could
interest.
talk, you know, the alumni that are graduates of there and.
Yeah, yeah, that would be neat, so. I'm hopeful that more comes from that than just being highlighted, so.
Cool. Okay, all right, set time and agenda for, does anybody
November.
have anything that I should add or remove from the agenda? Pretty much stays the same.
Same old,
Yeah.
same old.
Yeah. Any additions? No? Okay, so what are we thinking? What's the, under the select meeting?
Yeah.
Select board is, the next one is 18th, right? So that means November 1st is the select board meeting, so the 15th. So do we want to shoot for the 6th?
Well, election is the 7th, right? Okay,
Yeah, they'll
so-
be setting up. it.
They'll
be setting up.
Right.
Yes.
Be in here.
So then that would be,
Is the 13th gonna be too late?
well, if we're gonna hit the meeting on the 15th, it is.
Yeah.
Because I have to have invoices in.
Yeah.
Before that.
Do
we want to go another, instead of the Monday, do we want to go, to keep it? You know, we could do Tuesday, Wednesday. I just have to have stuff to them, to go on the warrant. Has to be by 10 o'clock on Monday, but I've been trying to make sure they're in there.
by Monday on the
Thursday.
13th?
Yeah,
Okay,
but I try to get them there by the Thursday before, just to make sure, so I can do this and.
Yeah.
I can do Wednesday or Thursday of that week.
And let me look.
The 8th and the 9th.
What do you think?
Is there-
Larry?
I can do the Wednesday or Thursday. too.
Okay.
And let me
Andrew?
just check what else is
There's
going
a
on.
day, I think the first week of November, where Paul and I will both be in Boston at an event, and I'm actually not sure. It's either the 9th or the 10th. So.
So if we
that
lean more towards
Wednesday-
Wednesday, would be
Wednesday,
doable,
yeah.
Wednesday the 8th?
That's open here, so.
Okay,
Yeah.
and Doug, what are you thinking?
Could be okay.
Steve?
There's no meeting in here, Doug, so it means you won't be here for a different meeting. so. Unless you've got one of your other things,
The 8th
so,
works for me,
yeah.
Nate?
okay.
Just
All right,
check
I'll
it.
let Steve know.
Okay.
Okay, so let's plan on same bat time, same bat channel, but just on the 8th.
Wednesday.
No offense.
No events?
Can you?
Well, November 10th, my granddaughter turns 21. My oldest. I move we adjourn. That just made me feel old.
And- Yeah, I will second that.
Oh, please.
Really?
It's okay.
Yeah, but this
That's
is a big
huge.
number.
It is, it
Okay,
is.
I turned 70 in February. Todd turns 70 next week.
It's just crazy, isn't it? I called my mom when and when we were kids, we were not allowed to say shut up.